Now let's see what a parabola is. So I know most of you know what a parabola is, right? Because we've studied quadratic equations many times before. Well, let's see it in a more formal way right now, the geometric way. So a parabola is a curve in which every point on the curve is equidistant from a point called a focus and a straight line called a directrix. Now let's see what a directrix is first. A directrix is any line that is parallel to the x-axis, right? Now let's say you draw this line over here parallel to the x-axis, right? This is the directrix. Now the focus is a point that is equidistant from the directrix and the extreme point of this curve. Now the extreme point on this curve is this point over here, right? As it's the absolute bottom of this curve. Now you calculate the distance from this point to the directrix, and you draw a point directly above this of the same distance. You draw a point above the extreme point directly in the same length as the distance from this minimum point to the directrix. Now let's say this length is x, right? So you draw a point with the same length over here, okay? Let's say it's this point over here. This point also has a length of x. Now what you need to do is you need to see that if you take any point on this curve, let's say it's this point over here, right? This point will have the same length from the directrix and this point that we took before. Both of these points are equal, right? So let's say this is length f, so this will also be length f. Now let's say you take another point on the curve. Let's say you take this point, right? You draw a line from this point to that point, and then you draw a point from that point down to the directrix, right? Both of these lengths are equal in a parabola. Let's say this is length g, and this will also be length g. Now this is what you call a complete definition geometrically of a parabola, right? This point that you took is called the focus, and this line that you drew is called the directrix. Okay, now we already know that a parabola is always a u-shaped curve. You can have this u, or you can have a u like this as well, right? It depends on the equation. And it will always have a vertex and an axis of symmetry. Now the line that we were drawing the focus on, right, is the axis of symmetry. Basically, the axis of symmetry divides the parabola into two congruent pieces. So this, in this particular case, is the y-axis. It divides it into the congruent pieces, this piece and this piece. They are both identical and they have the axis of symmetry as the y-axis, and the vertex is the extreme point. We took this as the extreme point, remember, in this particular case, and in the case above this case, this will be the extreme point, right? It's very intuitive. You know what an extreme point is, right?